now is our friend Mark Schlereth from the NFL on Fox, also 104.3 The Fan in Denver. Mark, let's start in Denver. Last night, Russell Wilson, after a hot start, struggled again. He has a lat issue. He now has a hamstring issue. How concerned should the Broncos be about their quarterback breaking down?
Well, I mean, they should be more concerned about their quarterback not playing well. I mean, that's been the biggest issue. I mean, this is our back-to-back, probably the two worst games of his career, and I'm telling you, it's as though he's a rookie. So we can sit there and talk about the lat or the hamstring, but the bottom line is that's excuses. I don't care. I don't care if you're hurt. You lined up to play. You better play well. That's the rule. And he has played like I said, he's played like a total rookie. He's been absolute garbage the last two games, and he looks like he doesn't know what he's doing. No anticipatory nature to his throws. He's a complete psych thrower. If his receiver isn't wide open looking at him, he's not throwing the ball. Doesn't understand blitz or blitz. It's like I think though he was abducted by aliens. I think we got to make a specific area to find him because he is awful. Awful.
So was he a fraud propped up by the system in Seattle? Is he getting old? Is he a part of dysfunction in Denver? What happened to Russell Wilson, Stink?
Well, I think that Russell Wilson understood that he had this goal to play another 10 years, and he thought that he was having success in spite of the coaching of Pete Carroll. And I think what ended up happening is what Pete Carroll was saying all those years and all that time is that, hey, to be good, you're going to have to play a certain way. And so Russell didn't want to do that. We heard all this, let Russ cook. That's all we ever heard from Seattle. We got to let him cook. And ultimately, Pete was on the philosophy of, hey, we're going to keep Russ simmering because he can't cook. And I think ultimately what happened was, all that criticism that Pete took, he took a bunch of slings and arrows. There's no question about that. But what he was doing is saying there's a way to win. And you dropping back and you playing from the gun and you basically operate that way is not how it's going to get done. So we have to have you use your play action and use, all those things to get that stuff done. And basically I think Pete Carroll managed Russell Wilson, and Russell Wilson came to Denver, and I think he's like, hey man, I want to play from the shotgun and I want to play like Tom Brady. And guess what? You can't play like Tom Brady. You can't operate from the pocket. You're just not at that position in your life.
Mark Schlereth is with us here, Fox NFL, of course, coverage, 104.3 The Fan in Denver. Mark, you called the game on Sunday, the Niners. What'd you think of that fourth quarter drive that took 8 minutes and resulted in 0 points?
Well, ultimately you're like, that's one of those situations where I look at the way the Niners are built, and like they are built to catch and to run through people and to run over people, and they need to run the ball. I just don't know that. I just don't feel like they have anybody on their roster that says, "Hey, let's just split you out wide. Let's just attack down the football field." It's not how they're built, and I don't know that they have that guy that can do that. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo had a deep ball over the middle to what was it? Was it Ray? I think that.
Yep.
That it just went right through his hands. He had another shot down the middle, down a seam to I think that was to the tight end that got dropped. So he had several balls that were dropped. Who was that? That wasn't Dwelly. It was I think that was it was Warner that dropped that one, and then Ray McLeod dropped that one down the middle of the football field. Like, you design two plays that are explosive plays, and both of them get dropped, like, you're going to have issues, because I just don't think that the rest of the receivers on that team, that's not what they do, And it's funny, every week I look at teams that I'm covering, right, and I say, okay, Like, I look at every route every guy runs, and there's reasons certain guys don't do certain things. There's guys that line up outside the numbers and they run goes and they run comebacks. That's what they run, right? That's who they are. And then there are guys that run in the slot and they run crossing routes and they run quick out routes, or they might run a deep over route. But that's basically the routes those guys run. And there's very few guys that run every route on the route tree because they're just not built that way. And I don't think the Niners are built to line guys up and try to get them one-on-one and say, hey, just go win deep on a route. That's not what they do.
With that loss on Sunday, they're now 0-26 under Kyle Shanahan when trailing by more than 4 points going into the fourth quarter. What does that say to you, that this team hasn't been able to come back from a 4-point lead in 5 years now, Mark?
Yeah, well, that's obviously that's concerning, and I think part of that, like I said, is the way they are built. But they have they're very much, to me, kind of the way they like the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens are built to run the ball, to set up their play action, to get some one-on-ones, and to do those things. And when when the games don't play that way, it's hard to be a straight drop back. Let's drop back and let's attack people in the passing game. So I think part of that is to say that, hey, we've got to run the ball. We've got to run the ball well. And we set up and we get our explosive plays, not off of one-on-one matchups, but we get our explosive plays off design and off, the play action and the run action, play action, and the play pass play action. And I think what it says is it's the way we're built. And when we don't have a lead or when we're behind, it's hard we just can't let go of that philosophical kind of approach to the game because that's how we're built. So I guess that's what it says. That's an alarming statistic, though, to not have it one comeback.
Yeah, it's crazy that they're I think that's the third worst record behind Washington and the Lions. Well, with that stat,
and
Mark
Cleveland
Schlereth with us,
and Cleveland,
Cleveland's in the mix, of course. Last one for you, Mark. Have some fun with this one. So we watched Mahomes and Allen on Sunday. If you're starting a franchise and you have to pick one of those two guys, who are you picking, or would you have somebody else you would pick instead to lead your team at quarterback?
Well, I've called Patrick Mahomes. He's a unicorn, that dude, when he takes a dump, it's rainbow sherbet. That dude he is an absolute freak of nature. But I think Allen is too. So, I don't know that there's a wrong answer. I do get a little nervous about Allen, and the guy is 6'5" and 250 pounds, and he's a big, thick dude. But the dudes on defense have bad intentions, and I do get a little worried about all the designed run and leaping over. Somebody's gonna catch him in the yarbles with a helmet, and that's not gonna be a good. That's not gonna be a good thing for him. But I would probably go Mahomes, but I don't know that there's a wrong answer there.
Mark, we appreciate you every time you join us here on this Tuesday at this time. We'll talk to you next week, Mark.